Hello everyone. Welcome to Red Letter Talk with Rylee, and like always, we'll wait just a few moments, maybe minutes, till people who are going to be listening live can get to their screen. So I'm just gonna get my Bible ready. All right. Hi, Gail. I think there's two people on, but it just shows me just one person. So hello, whoever you are as well. Like always, we're just going to wait a few more moments. I'm just getting my Bible ready. For some reason, it's not loading, so just one sec. Hi Georgia. Let's try. So wait just a few more moments and then we'll get started. Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank you all for joining, and hello, Pastor Rick. And we'll definitely, I'm so glad to be back with you all. It's been a few weeks because of Labor Day, and then Jackson and I were on vacation. So I'm glad to be back with you all. And I am super excited. Right before our little break of Red Letter Talk, which Red Letter Talk, just if it's your first time on here, is speak the words of Jesus, which is all in red letters in the Bible. And really, we're just digging deep into what it means, and all sorts of things. So we've been doing the healings and miracles of Jesus, and for a couple months. And then just before this break, I explained that we will be doing oh, hi, Bill. I'm glad I'm back too. But sorry. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, the Beatitudes, and this is in Matthew 5. So if you're listening or want to take notes or anything, so we're going through them, and like I said last time, these are really this huge message that Jesus is giving to a crowd of people, and there's a lot to it. There's a lot to unpacked in these, and so I said it last week, I'm pretty sure, or the week we had this, that a lot with this, what Jesus is saying is going deeper than into things. So it's talking a lot of the laws of Moses. It's talking a lot of like what the laws are, but even deeper, that it's not just through our actions, but what's in our hearts, and not to just do the right thing because this is what it looks like, but really, he's really convicting and also really encouraging his followers and the people who are listening to live such a deeper relationship with God, such a deeper obedience than what they're already doing, calling them to go even more in a step of really, and he talks about it, and we'll go through it a little bit, of that he is fulfilling the law, that he is accomplishing it. So it's not taking away from the laws at all. It's not saying, not to do these things, but it's really going even deeper into the laws. And so that being said, I know, going through this is not meant to be condemning in any way, but really even a challenge. Even when I was reading, I'm like, whew, I need to remember this. And just knowing that this was just the grace of God as well, and wanting us to be the light of the world, which is what it talks about. And so, let me see where to start. I said this last time, but I'm going to read it again because it's just so good. So in Matthew 5:13 is where we'll start. It says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its taste, how can it be salty? It is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and walked on by people. Hi Sharon. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good deeds and moral excellence and glorify your Father who is in heaven." This is in the Amplified version, by the way. I didn't say that before. "Do not think that I came to do away with or undo the law or the writings of the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For I assure you, and most solemnly say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or stroke of the pen will pass from the law until all things are accomplished. So whoever breaks one of the least important of these commands and teaches others to do the same will be called the least important in kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches them, he will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you that unless your righteousness is more than that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." Okay, we'll go a little farther because we're going to get into the part about anger. So in verse 21, "You have heard that it was said to the men of old, 'You shall not murder,' but whoever murders shall be guilty before the court. But I say to you that everyone who continues to be angry with his brothers or harbors malice against him shall be guilty before the court. And whoever speaks to his brother shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whoever says, 'You fool,' shall be in the danger of the fiery hell. So if you are presenting your offering at the altar, and while there you remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there at the altar and go. First make peace with your brother, and then come and present your offering. Come to terms quickly with your opponent at law while you are with him on the way, so that your opponent does not hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you are thrown into prison. I assure you and most solemnly say to you, you will not come out of there until you have paid the last cent." Okay, so unpacking this a little bit, and this is where we're going to end for today, is he's not, I'm trying to see in a different version too, because I was reading it earlier in the NLT, sorry, and where it says in verse 21, "You have heard that our ancestors were told you must not murder. If you commit murder, you are subject to the judgment. But I say to you, if you are even angry with someone, you are subject to judgment." And so it's not just, it's kind of almost taking like a magnifying glass and going, seeing closer to whatever you're looking at, that it's not just the whole of, what murder is, which is obviously not good to, but I think, and at least in my mind, I'm like, well, I didn't murder this person, but I never thought of that. But like, okay, I'm not murdering them, but I'm really angry with them and I'm holding this like bitterness, that is also not okay, and, just because the actions are not doing that, but in my heart, do I wish ill for that person? Do I wish that they would die? Which is, bad as well. And so it's, again, looking into our hearts of making amends, making things right, forgiveness, and how important it is. And so, yeah, this one is like tricky for me, because not tricky, but just, really challenging in me of, okay, when I'm angry with someone, really looking at it of, okay, God, like, I'm trying to like say this right, but for asking forgiveness, and even in times of anger or things that I'm mad about or whatever, just thinking of that person as, okay, Lord, I give this person to you. This is driving me nuts. I'm mad, or, whatever's going on. But remembering that they are also a child of God, that they are also, a human being, and loving your neighbor is not just loving the people that you love, like, that are easy to love, but loving people that are hard to love and make you angry and make you upset. And so, again, this is before Jesus died on the cross, on the cross. And so it's a little, now, like, we can ask, we don't have to come to sacrifice and go to the altar and do that, but we still need to, forgive people, and we need to come to them, and ask for forgiveness to God. But it's showing even in this of like how important it is what Jesus did. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the Beatitudes, and so beautiful all of this is really showing that how much fault that we have, and how much, I don't know, like in depth, what Jesus did for us, if that makes sense. Like, this is a really weird example, but if I were to, again, not the best example, but if I were to, let's say I was going somewhere and I had all these errands and I had to do things, and I was late to something. If I was driving down the street and I saw, somebody's car broke down and all this stuff, but I was late to, like, let's say Jackson and I were going to go to lunch or something. I was meeting there, as of, just see, like, I'm late and I come in, I'm like, oh yeah, like, sorry, I'm late. But then if I like get into detail of like what has happened or why, and all the detail and all the things, it would make him understand more. So it's kind of like that in a way of Jesus really impacting what, is a sin, and what are these things that, okay, that's great that you're not killing your neighbor, even though whatever, but in your heart are you doing this? And really unpacking that of how, to live our lives, of not just on the outward appearance of, oh yes, like I do, like almost a way like checking the box of, oh, I don't do this sin or whatever. But really, if you go into detail, I think just even in my life with anger, like, because I can get angry sometimes. And again, it's that of needing to come to God. And so I think that's what's so beautiful, again, about the Beatitudes and what Jesus is doing, because again, he was not coming in this high and mighty place. You know what I mean? Like, where he's like, well, I do all this stuff, but you guys can't do that. Like, he lived out this, what he was, all the things that, and I know it can almost be discouraging. And for me, I do read the Beatitudes, but it's not always my favorite because it's, convicting. But then I had to remember, okay, but Jesus lived out these things that he really did, that he never sinned. And so what he's telling us, living this holy life and living, just the hope that brings as well, that he's coming in of, he was a human being. He did struggle, like he was tempted, and yet like he wasn't man without sin. And so living that life. And so when he's teaching these things, and he never, even after he taught them, he never made himself look better. You know what I mean? Like, he still hung out with the sinners. He still loved the sinners. And so it shows that someone who could be so righteous, so completely righteous and pure heart and pure, and have, understand the like justice and the judgment that all those things, yet is so loving and so, the Prince of Peace and joyful. And so just showing how, it goes together of, yes, this is a very impactful message that he shares, yet like the compassion that comes with it and really trying to let people understand how important it is, Hi, Bobby. And so I hope that makes sense of just, this is why I wanted to do it. And to be honest, I knew doing Red Letter Talk from the beginning, I was a little nervous to do the Beatitudes because I knew that, this is a lot of red letter talk. This is a lot of red letters in here. And how important it is, I knew that at some point I was going to have to do it. But it is, something that's so important. And so, hi, Paulette. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Again, I, just want to again say that this is not a message to be condemning, but really a conviction of our hearts of, just conviction of our hearts. And so I'm going to pray us out. But thank you for joining, and I'll see you guys next week for sure. But Lord, I just want to thank you so much just for the gift, Lord, that you gave your son to us, Lord, to die on the cross for our sins. And really this message that that he gave, Lord, how much direction that he gives, how much, really, it's such in a way, a love letter to us of how to live a holy life, how to live, a good life with you, Lord. And so I just pray that again, against any condemnation, but really just, Lord, that we would be convicted of our lives, and also just wanting to just get closer to you, God, and wanting to, and striving, Lord, to love you better, God, and just how the 10 Commandments really are, which is so cool, a way to love you and love people around us better, God. And so I just pray when we're going through these things, Lord, that it would just be a better way for us to love you and a better way for us to love each other. And so I just pray all these things in your name. Amen. All right. Hi, Roseanne. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week.